we are always looking for good PhD students and colleagues who want to visit us. So we are a very open group, and then you will meet many of the people from the group, and then hopefully we will meet each other, and then hope you will enjoy the conference. Please let us know if you have any comments or requests. Please put it on the chat, and then we are continuously monitoring the chat for helping everyone in the team. So welcome everyone, and let me just give the word to Eva, who is the control on the schedule and introducing the session. And Susanna and then Petra are with me, and then also Martin, who are more taking care of the technology, and Ome and Eva created the website, and then everyone else is doing whatever is needed, Branko, Adinur, Imam, and then many of the other team members too. So welcome everyone. So Eva, the word is yours.
Thank you very much for joining. And just as Scholt said, we have many helpers, and we want to make this event as pleasant as possible for you. So we have a few requests. Would you please just not turn on your audio whenever it's not your turn to speak, because sometimes then the camera jumps. So it would be really nice if you switched off your audio, your microphone whenever you are not speaking. And then it's open to discussion. Whatever we do, we highly encourage engagement and discussion. And it's just as Scholt said, we would like to have as much discussion and development and engagement and collaboration as possible. So it would be really good if you just posted your questions into the chat, and then we can discuss whatever is on your mind on some specific topics. And this session today is about hands-on experience, more or less. So basically we do stuff today that is more like workshop and feels more like a workshop. And our first presenter is going to be Diego Liaband from Brazil. And I'm really excited because we're friends. And so it's always extremely awesome to see what he's doing and what new things he's coming up to. Afterwards, we will have Hosam, who also does extremely interesting things and will show us about his interesting things. And then afterwards, we will have some things that we students did. So the PhD students and the postdocs, we have some probably for some new experiences and new exercises and new things that we developed. And then after that, we have another workshop also from colleagues from Brazil. And so this is going to be an exciting afternoon for us. And I hope you have a pleasant experience. And whenever you need something, just write us an email and we will, or put it in the chat, and we will try to solve all issues and make it as pleasant and funny and encouraging and awesome as possible. So many thanks, and I hope that Diego is already here. I think I saw him already. So perhaps
I'm here.
Time to get on now with the actual excitement stuff, and so the real cool things. Please, Diego, show us what cool things you have in your bag.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you, Scholt, and all staff that who are organizing this conference. I'm so glad to see some friends. And well, today, basically, I'm sharing some ideas that I have developed during my PhD in Linz. I have finished 2 years ago. And now I'm still continuing these physical and digital connections. So I'm intending to share some perspectives in using especially Geogebra with some other technologies like 3D printing and laser cutting. but most of all, thinking about new perspectives in STEAM education and also in maker culture in this scenario, especially when we are considering this current moment that we are living by distance learning. So I think it's important to think together and discuss about that. So before we start, Eva, I have to ask you something else. Some students of mine should be here, or they are trying to get in.
Okay.
Tainá and Fabian. I'm not sure if they were regularly subscribed, but maybe they are trying.
Did you give them the link?
Yeah, I shared them the link. So I'm not sure if they are still in, because I'm trying something connected with them at the same time. So just be sure they are here.
Maybe they could say something.
She's Tainá is here. Yeah, she's already in. Thank you. So let me share my presentation and then we can start. Try something. Hopefully you can see my presentation now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes,
Just let me
clearly.
close the door to avoid some interrupting sounds. So, as I said, basically I'm intending to share some ideas shortly, and then trying some practical activities together with you in a Geogebra classroom. And I have to tell you as well, we are using a second camera. Maybe you can see some physical stuff from my phone, and then I will share some stuff that I have developing here. So maybe you can mark the pin there just to see some other materials. So feel free to follow as much as you like, and then let's start. So thank you all of you for your attention, and good morning and good afternoon, depending on where you are. But well, today I'm talking about digital and physical resource with Geogebra, from playing to making them. So as I said before, I'm developing some materials considering these digital and physical connections, especially with Geogebra, but also considering some other softwares like Tinkercad and so on. But more than making them, I'm considering how to use them in education, in STEAM education. I'm a math teacher in Brazil. I'm teaching for high school students and also for future teachers. So that's the reason I'm always thinking about these perspectives in using this kind of materials and combined resource. Today I'm counting with Tainá Barbosa and Fabian Lotti, who are students of my institution and also taking part of this project that I'm leading now. So they will help me to cut it out some materials. Let's see if it works. Hopefully it works. Well, so despite I'm a math teacher, I'm considering the perspective in bringing these physical possibilities or opportunities to STEM education or STEAM education in many different fields. So here you can see some examples in chemistry, biology, physics. We could also consider some arts example I'm showing soon. But one of the premises to do that is making students more creative in working with this kind of resource, so they can transform or they can adapt some existing materials and to sharpen them as they like or as they want. And so in this case, since I'm a math teacher, I'm considering the math as a mean, not as an end. So they have to use mathematics in this process of adapting these materials. Currently, I'm leading a project here in Brazil in these connections, STEM education and maker culture. So basically what we are trying to do right now is considering some perspectives in 4 dimensions for students and future teachers. Oh, I didn't translate here, but sorry. They are 3D printing, laser cutting, in the green one, you can see, augmented reality, and Arduino with some other stuffs and materials like 4D frame and so on. So important to say, we are considering all these perspectives, but offering to the students the opportunity to choose which one they feel better with it. So they can develop different resource or ideas as they like. We are using as pillars of this project the 4 C's considered for the 21st century education. They are the creativity, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration. So when we are developing such kind of projects, they have to be connected all the time and discussing. So thinking critically and creating for sure. So here I'm showing you some perspectives with 3D printing that I have developed already when I was in Linz. So basically I did that during my PhD time. We bought some 3D printing in this STEM education or Linz education labs. And then we were trying some tasks, I would say open tasks. I mean, students could create and transform such kind of materials like cubes and so on. And we did some workshops with that, either with kids and teachers. So you can see here, they are quite exploratory tasks. So they could develop different ideas to dissect a cube, for example. So keeping the same area and same volume and so on. So here in the left corner, you can see some artistic representations, these Baravel spirals. So just to give some examples in the art direction. here I'm continuing with some cubes examples. Okay. So here I'm continuing with some cubes examples that are already results from students. So the previous one, I have developed some of them, but here all of them are from workshops that we have offered. This one, the yellow and white, was made in a workshop with 12 years old students in Austria, with Austrian and German kids, in partnership with Sandy, and who is teaching in JKU, and it was a student solution. And I was so glad when we got that. So we were helping and supporting them for sure, but they were totally original in creating that. This one and this one were made in Brazil already in a workshop with teachers and future teachers. So they modeled it last year, even working online. And then I managed to print it out. So, and all of them are different, but somehow based in previous solutions that they have seen before. So they use some aspects that they have seen in some other examples, and they transform it by their own. So another project that we have developed in Linz with this 3D printing initiative was doing some or adapting some existing games. So I have, for example, wrote about this really nice game, set game. It's a popular and amazing card games. It's a logical game. And then we developed in a 3D version with 3D printing. Also, logic phases we have adapted. It's the other way around. It's an existing physical game, and then we have adapted in digital version. So we were always merging these physical and digital possibilities. So some workshops that I have developed in Canada with kids, for example, using this Quarto game. So it's a game that already exists as well. So we started to develop this game in a digital version, and finally they managed to model with this game as well. So, and they were so happy in doing that, and somehow that was the starting point in driving this direction with 3D printing in my PhD project. So here is another game, is La Boca. It's a really funny game that we have developed in a big scale for some workshop. A colleague of mine who is also here, Eduardo, he's also managing some projects in Brazil in using games with his students and making such games bigger for his institution. So I think here is duplicated, but anyway. Here I just bring some examples for real life problem solving. So we were fixing a suitcase in two different sense, the handle and also the base part, and a lamp. So it got broken, and then we managed to model some parts here. We did that in Tinkercad, these two, and this one was made in Geogebra by Andy, who is also teaching JKU. Here's some experiments with 4D frame is another material that I'm using. So I was also considering some digital simulations with that, and kids were playing with this physical one. Some other stuffs with 4D frame fractals, which has a really nice connection with this current project that I'm leading here, because we are working a lot with fractals. I'm showing you. So here you can see some fractals perspectives, more in a digital sense. And then some printed or cutted versions that we were making with laser cutting. So for those who don't know how laser cutting works, I bring some examples here. Hopefully it's working. And then you can see how fast it is to cut it out. So that's a benefit comparing with 3D printing. So we can take some models from Geogebra and just export to SVG, and then make print or cut it out. So from my perspective, the nice things in working with that is combining this possibility to explore the digital and dynamic aspect from Geogebra, but also getting the final result as a piece of work, let's say. So students are really excited with that. So here are some steps with calculus. We were working with these layers just to show some aspects for evaluating volumes or so on. And some arts projects just to inspire those who are intending to work with that. So we have developed some stuffs with mosaics and so on. Here again, some games projects. So I have developed with some students last year in a digital version, since we were working online. And finally, we decided to adapt this piece of the game in a wood version, let's say. But also we developed this digital version. Then we were playing online with this just to grasp the meaning and analyzing the possibilities in education with logical and so on. We were also using a lot of coding for doing that. And here is more connected with the project that I'm leading now, developing a lot of physical stuff to spread to schools here, especially poor communities who are not always able to get connected. So we are intending to distribute some of these materials. So we started with this one, also considering the inclusive learning or teaching education. So for blind people, like for example, so it's simple tasks that we have to play with digitally and to put different colors one beside other. But when we made it physically, we were considering different shapes just for blind people identify them. And then we use the same approach in some other materials that we have developed. Again, we were considering a lot this connection, digital and physical representations or versions. some perspectives in using for teaching. Here we were showing the connection with the dodecagon area. So how can we compare with 3 squares, for example, and some possibilities in 3D, like this one, for example. It's a dodecahedron that we have cut it out and using such stuffs that I don't know the name in English, but then we have this flat version. And here I'm bringing some interdisciplinary project that we have developed with some colleagues in this project. So in physics, some circuits, and also using Arduino. This topographic, I'm not sure if this is correct word, representation. And since we have this agriculture course here, we were developing something together just to keep these plants inside. Here, how Taina and Fabien usually are working on the lab with the laser cutting machine, just for those who don't know the size and so on. And here we just brought some steps of the process. So basically, we are developing some stuffs in Geogebra and also in Tinkercad and some other CAD softwares, then converting them to DXF format, either online or using Inkscape. Currently, we are using more Inkscape, and then finally we are connecting with the laser cutting machine. So here I'm just bringing a short example that we are how we were working in 2011, then 2015, just to show the development of the software, and finally some possibilities to work with this approach right now using augmented reality, just to show some few examples. And here I brought some students' productions again. So based on this activity, they have developed some of these foods, either using geometrical stuffs or equations. So they were really motivated in doing that.
Diego, quick question. Catherine wants to know how you use these in education, these examples. And she mentions that she has little access to laptops and no access to 3D printers and such. And maybe these augmented reality exercises might already help because they just require smartphones.
That's a really good question, Eva. Thank you. Well, that's the point. I think we have to open these, I don't know the wording, these options for considering all different realities. So for those who, for sure, it's not easy to get a 3D printing or a laser cutting machine, but nowadays is getting quite popular, these Fab Labs. So probably you can get connected with some institution who has, or some Fab Labs, and then considering that. If it's not possible, you also you can also consider these augmented reality tasks, so they can model it, and when they have the opportunity to print it out or cut it out, they can try it by their own or with some partnership institutions. But for sure, I think it's really important to consider the different scenarios that we have, because it's quite common in Brazil. Even in Brazil, Brazil is so big. So I'm so lucky that I'm in a institution that have this opportunity. But I know that's not common. And what we are trying to do here, it's getting connected with schools and poor schools to support them in that way. So I think this is part of the the meaning of the STEAM education as well, considering the collaboration in developing together. But for sure, I think augmented reality is a good alternative. Also, something that I didn't show you, we are also using some paper crafts just to make it cheaper, for example, to develop some materials. So we know some of them are not affordable for some schools, but we can think and make it cheaper, for example. So here I brought this example that I showed you before. So it's really important get that on mind. Here in some workshops, I'm offering this opportunity to print it out or cut it out and distribute. It's not quite common right now, but that's something that we are intending to do. So here I'm almost finishing. Again, I just update this slide with some other ideas in real life, because I think at the end, the most important thing in bringing that for education is solving problems in real life, isn't it? So, for example, here you can see on the left corner, this part of this toy was fixed with 3D printing. So we didn't throw it away, we just renew somehow. Here's some stuff to get it, some bottles, and here again the same that I have shown you before. And I think it's all. And then I would like to start the practical task, just to give you the idea how to do that. So here is the project that I'm leading. It calls PIPA is the name of this stuff here, since we are living in a region which is a higher wine production region. So, and we are combining these words. In Portuguese, research is pesquisa, innovation, prototyping, and learning, which means aprender in Portuguese. So here you have some reference. I'm sharing later to Eva, and then she make it publish. We are on Instagram, so if you want to follow us just to see some other projects, please feel free. Taina is taking care about that. And okay, that's all. And then what I would propose now is trying practical task, if you agree with that.
Just some quick question that came up in the chat. For one,
yeah, please.
Everybody loves the presentation, especially Valentina and Miheso. And Anjura wants to know that whether you have a place at the university that teachers or school groups or ordinary people, just like a makerspace, could visit to know and interact with these materials that you developed.
Sorry, I missed the first part, Eva. Sorry. Can you repeat, please?
The first part is everybody loves the presentation.
yeah. No, this part, yeah, but the first part of the question or the comment.
Oh, yes. Anjura wants to know whether you have a place at the university where teachers and school groups or ordinary people could come and interact with these materials, just like in a makerspace or something.
Yeah, thanks. Well, we do have, and we are exactly at this moment in a really huge discussion in my institution, because today in the afternoon, here in Brazil, we have another presentation for the ministry, and basically this project is getting bigger right now. We started with 25 more or less square meters space, So basically we have this laser cutting, and we are still waiting for the 3D printers in this small lab, but we should move for a bigger space in our institution and make it more accessible, let's say, and comfortable for those who are intending to visit us. So for sure, we are already open, not right now due to these COVID restrictions, but we are preparing just to receive students and people from the community. So like a space, maker space or fab lab or whatever. So, but we are increasing the area somehow. We are moving probably in a few months. And thank you for those who appreciate this or like.
Anua says that it's really great and very good news, and I agree. I envy you. This is great. This sounds really awesome.
Great. So basically what I'm intending to do with you right now is sharing a Geogebra book. Let's see if it works. And then I'm trying to show you how the process works. And Taina and Fabian, who is helping me, they are in the lab. They will try out to cut it out. So basically, if you look at my second camera, you can see this lizard from Escher. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Just send my, well, let me see here. Okay. Basically, what we are trying to do right now is something like that. I have prepared a task using this idea. So I'm sharing with you, could be on this chat here.
Can you maybe, yes, could you please copy paste the link into the chat so everybody can just click it? It would be really good, I think.
Great. I was not following the chat before, sorry. Greetings to Valentina. I'm so glad that you are here, Valentina. I have the opportunity to meet her in Portugal, I guess.
Thank you.
She's
great to
really
hear
amazing
you.
person. So here we have a classroom, and I have shared with you two tasks. We will start with this one, just to get the feeling how to make a model in Geogebra. And then I'm showing you how to transfer to Inkscape, and then finally to the 3D, to the laser cutting machine. So, and here I can follow you if you are getting in this classroom. I have seen some people there already. Cool. You can play it around, feel free to explore. And what I'm intending to do with you here is just bring some perspective in using that, how to consider in using in classrooms or even online classrooms. But first, in this first task, I just include let's say solitary lizard, so we can play with these points and model it as much as you like. But something that you have to get on mind is if it would be possible in that way to get it physical and as a puzzle. How can we make sure these pieces are fitting each other if we just put the points by one, I mean, without any geometrical criteria. Do you think it is possible? I can see something here interesting. If we do like that, for example, we have a really alternative lizard. I mean, but something that we have to get on mind is, would be possible to fit one each other if we cut it like that? What do you think?
Probably not.
Why not?
We would need a hole just as big, right? For each part, we would need a hole that is just as big so we can connect it.
Exactly. So just to make it this whole, as Eva is saying, we should also consider this transformation, this symmetrical transformations, rotation, and so on. And this is something that you can see in the second one. So while the first one is more free task, I mean, students could just move the points around and make the lizard as they want and they like. Whoa, how many people here? I'm so glad for that, 56. The second one, you have some criteria, geometrical criteria to make that. So I can see some students already in the second one. So you can see the three colors there. They are matching each other. And in this case, I have used some geometrical criteria to make it. So you can see when we move such points, I'm not using all points around the lizard, but just those who are reflecting some other points. So you can note when you move some points here. Oh. There is some problem when I'm getting in, I cannot see. I can see in the whole, maybe because there are many people, I don't know.
We have about 160 participants, so if only like a third of them joined, then it's already really many. So that's probably why.
Yeah, maybe. But now we have a good example here. I have no idea who is doing that. Well, right now is not moving, but I can move, I guess, here. Yeah. So here you can see, if I'm moving, for example, this point, I'm also affecting or transforming this part, because this corner is just rotated to here. So you can see this part is exactly the same as this one. You see, the white one who is missing here is rotated 150 degrees and then make them. This is the technique behind this Escher stuff. So if you can see, he's starting from hexagons and then using such transformations and symmetries issues to make this one available. So you can play as you want, and then even you are deforming the original lizard, they are still, let's say, matching each other. You can see here, I'm even transforming here and here. So all of them are somehow connected. So this could be interesting to realize about such transformation. And it works like that in all parts. This part, for example, we can see here, no? All these parts who are, let's say, adding outside of this hexagon, it's somehow missing inside in another part. Here is the tail, you can see here, okay? And this is how it works. So as you feel comfortable with that, we can just click on here. And I didn't translate, and click here the laser cutting version. So when you finish that, what we can see, let me choose one just to not get mine. Someone here, there is something interesting. It's psychedelic version of the lizard. I like that. So I have no idea who made that, but I'm using this one to try out to cut it. So I'm just clicking here and then here to get this laser cutting version. And then what you have to do is download as SVG. So I'm downloading as SVG. So I'm just writing here lizard workshop. I'm exporting. Okay. So once that step is done, I'm opening another app, is Inkscape. Just to convert this SVG file to the DXF file, which is the file which connect with the laser cutting. So this is Inkscape, is the software that I'm using. I can, well, maybe Eva can write on the chat, please, just to let them know.
Sure, just.
And then I'm opening. Yeah, thanks.
Also, Inkscape, of course, is free.
Yeah, thanks, Eva. This is an important thing. I'm using such free softwares, Geogebra and Inkscape, just for that reason.
And I'm not 100% sure, but I think Tinkercad can do this as well. You can import things like SVGs into Tinkercad and then.
Exactly.
There was an interesting question, by the way, in the chat.
Yeah, please.
Gilo asks whether, she says, it's really interesting, but why lizards? I think she doesn't really like lizards. So right now I'm trying to do a butterfly. That should work as well, perhaps.
Why lizard? That's the question.
Yes, why lizards? I think she does not really like lizards.
Maybe if I show you how much do I love Escher. So that's the reason why Escher, why lizard. That's my personal motivation.
Okay.
Maybe you can consider some other motivations. So let me import here, just opening this file. So I'm opening in SVG in Inkscape. So here you can see we don't need this part. Let me make it bigger. You can delete that. Also this, we don't need. And what I'm doing now is just saving it as DXF. So I'm coming here, file, save as lizard. Lizard workshop, DXF. And I'm saving it. And then I'm sending right now for my assistants who are in the lab. And they are continuing from here. Maybe they can share their screen or camera. Let's see, just let me send them. I'm sending them even by WhatsApp.
maybe for screen sharing, or how do you plan this? If it's with screen sharing, I think you need to turn off your screen, and then they need to have co-host, and then they have to switch on. Oh, Fabian just wrote, camera is already on.
Ah, great. I'm sending you, Fabian, the file, and then I'm turning off my camera, then my sharing presentation. Okay. Okay, now I send to Fabian, who is helping me, and I'm stopping here. Stop share. Okay, so I think now he can continue, he and Tina. I hope everything is fine there.
Fabian, can you maybe share your screen now?
Let's wait a bit. Tina and Fabian, are you there? I can't listen very well.
He says it's so loud. Ah. Now we can see something. Thank you.
Great.
Yes, it's true. Laser cutters make a lot of noise due to the ventilation, because the dust from the wood, you shouldn't breathe the dust of the wood, and so it's ventilated all the time, because of course it's burning things. So it's sucked down and through the filters, and that makes a lot of noise. And they are preparing for the cutting.
Yeah, in that case, we are cutting it in wood, MDF. I don't know if you call like that, Eva, as well. MDF.
Yep.
MDF.
It's also it's also MDF in Austria. Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's like a dense pressed wooden plate, basically, and it's pretty robust. But you have to be careful. You have to put some coating over it if you want to have it close to water, because otherwise if it's getting wet, it's probably not being that sustainable.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, you can start, Fabian, please. We can see you already.
Yes.
A gente já tá vendo a câmera de vocês.
Whoa, it's starting. Depending on the laser cutter, this can take longer or less long, because it's very dependent on the thickness of the material and the strength of the laser.
Yeah, I have to say that Eva is an expert, even much earlier than me with laser cutting. She and Martin, who is also working with that, they are really experts in laser cutting. So we have this Linz community in thinking possibilities. And it's totally true. We have to consider all the time the settings for the different materials that you are using.
Yeah, it's best to make tests. And as you can see in this example, there are some lines cut that are already cut. So sometimes it makes sense to consider whether you have several objects or just one polyline that is combined in cutting.
Yeah,
but for this example, this works.
Yeah, it happens because we have some kind of overlapping shapes. So it's passing through twice or three times. Yeah,
exactly. But wow, nicely done.
So we are planning to have a makerspace here. So I think in the autumn, and then Eva is already warming up our laser cutters. And then also we have lots of printers. So if you are interested in joining us, we will do lots of this kind of work if you are not happen to be in Brazil. So I think we will have it in JKU, and then hopefully Diego will join us for some time as well to teach all of these kind of things. But Eva and then many of the other students will contribute. So
that's so great. Thank you so much, Fabian and Taina. It's really beautiful. You see, it's a really nice and original lizard. Maybe not a lizard anymore, but anyway. I give you for your interpretation. But just to finish it, I'd like to show you some other possibilities. I was printing cut it with some milk pack or whatever, tea pack last week, just considering this alternative for different materials. And also I have no idea how it calls that in English or in German. This kind of
in German it would be Moosgummi, but I
foam.
Yeah.
It's a kind of foam, yeah. Thank you. So we are also doing some experiments with that. So you can see how many different perspectives we can. Here you can see a kind of puzzle. Not sure if I managed to. Here. It's also a cube with foam. Yeah, and here's some games that I'm developing right now. I was intending to show this today, but I have to change it a bit, the plan, because we didn't finish yet. But it's something that already exists, but we are adapting and also combining with Geogebra. But maybe in the next seminar or whatever, I am able to show with you the full and final version. And last but not least, in my second camera, you can see also these puzzles that we have combined MDF with acrylic. So doing such kind of puzzle. And the nice things from this one that I like so much is just making students more creative, because they can easily adapt such kind of games. I mean, they can create their own puzzles. They can make the holes wherever they want. I mean, and also these ticks, and then they can use this piece, and that's on. That's all. So it's really opening for their creativity in that way. So they can easily adapt and move. And here I have to use a hammer to put it in, so it's quite easy to take it out. And here we have some puzzles. We didn't use Geogebra for that, but it's also nice. There are some standard models already done that you can find online. There are many platforms. Maybe Fabian can share on the chat some platforms that we are using. Thingiverse, but they found yesterday some really nice boxes in some online platform that are really nice to use it for these adapting activities as well. So I think it's more or less like that I have planned, and I'm open if you want to. Thank you, Fabian. I just I was not able to include in the slides, final slides, but I have organized. See here. Maybe I can show you quickly. something that they have printed out from yesterday. For example, oops. Just a minute. Yeah. So here you can see we were leading a workshop yesterday with students. So this is a student production as well. And they cut it out yesterday. We also had this box. So you can even make this wood flexible. This is really nice. This is not with Geogebra, but we can find already done. Something else, a fractal that they had cut it yesterday. And what else? And another model, yeah. Well, I think that's all. Just to give you some other perspectives. And
it's amazing.
I'm done. Yeah. I think we are on time, hopefully.
Yeah, of course you are. This is really great. So looking from the comments, everybody is really excited about your ideas, and probably you can also give us the links to the Geogebra resources somewhere, so I can add them to the Geogebra page of the conference, if that's okay with Short.
Yeah, I'm sharing with you the presentation, then we have some links there. Yeah, I think it's easier, but as you want, yeah. And just maybe a short advertisement. Some of these activities I got inspired from a really nice project in Brazil. It's puzzles in education, let's say, something like that. But it's part of a training program for those students who are interested in math and Olympiad mathematics. So, and they are talking about that to participants from one of these courses that I have led last year, and they are sharing really nice stuff soon. I mean, I think in 2 hours or 3 hours. They are already on the schedule, so yes. I would recommend, yeah.
So and more amazing things to come. Amazing.
Thank you.
Everybody is inspired and excited.
Yeah.
I think you blew a lot of minds right now.
Thank you again for Fabian and Tina, who are helping me a lot. Yeah.
Yes, maybe you can also introduce them a bit more, because we are excited about them as well.
Well, actually, they are taking part on this project. And supporting me a lot with this laser machine. Since I'm not investing, I'm trying to invest my time also in doing research. So they are more operating and bringing some ideas as well. And they are future mathematics future teachers, students in my institution, and really supporting in this project. Yeah.
So maybe we have some more minutes for questions. If anyone would like to ask questions from Diego, and then we will switch to our next presenter. I think Eva will do that. And then, of course, we are very welcome to join our group and then develop ideas together. So. And then we are very happy to share our resources too, probably Diego as well, for all of you in Brazil or around that. So any questions?
I'm glad to see different countries here. Lebanon, London, Pakistan, Austria for sure.
Yeah, but there's some Tanzania, interesting. Okay, of course, Argentina.
So Esther has a question. So maybe Esther, you can unmute your microphone and then you can ask directly from Diego.
Okay, that was really great and I enjoyed it. And I would like to ask you that, could you imagine that in the future it will be more common in schools, in everyday schools, that students and teachers will access to laser cuttings and things like that?
Well, I would say yes. I think we are making the future. That's the point. I think we are part of that. We are really responsible in contributing for this, and that's the reason we are really important in such kind of movement in STEAM education, in maker culture, bringing to the school. Because, for example, here in Brazil, at least, there are really a huge movement in maker culture, but still not too much into the school. So I think that's all parts, making them connected like a bridges, you know. So we are trying to look for partnerships. If they are not available still on school, let's do all efforts to make it them available. I think that's the really important part to get on mind. We can. For sure, for get this project in our institution, we have to submit for a project. It was not that easy, but we got it because we love somehow on that. So that's I think it's the meaning of the sense, or the we have to believe in what we are doing and make it available for all. Yeah.
Thank you. It would be really great.
Yeah, and also since Diego started working with us on 3D printing, the prices of 3D printers just dropped enormously. So then there is lots of accessibility. So it will be more common. It's like smartphones, and then also the sharing of resources. So now we have at least 15 printers here. So we can collect materials, we can print and then post and so on. Of course, Eva will facilitate all of the printers here and then our team. So I think it will be possible to have it in some years. I think it will be very common to use these machines and resources. I think there are some more questions. Maybe Eva, you can pick some of the questions, and then we will transit for the next speaker.
Then I will start with a question, not from the next speaker, and then with a question of the next speaker. The question was how to use GeoGebra in your classroom, whether there are other possibilities. And in fact, you can make a lot of apps using GeoGebra that can be used for teaching. And we will have some speaker later about GeoGebra as well. And then the next question is from the next speaker, and he asks you, Diego, to what extent can such projects make mathematics learned by students? Which is, of course, important.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always getting that on my mind, which kind of math we are using for. But what I'm intending to do is changing a little bit the point of view of math. Is more as a mean, as I said before, than as an end. So we are not doing exams for math, but we are using math, in fact, with such kind of transformations, or let's say in these cube tasks, we are using a lot of algebra sometimes to get a really fine, nice solution for the cubes problem. We have to consider the algebra issues as well. Or even with the augmented reality, we have to use really hard math to get this surface. So I'm totally convinced that math is behind anyway. So I'm comfortable in using that, and let's say open the alternatives for the students choosing whatever they feel better. Of course, I'm giving some perspectives but because we can find the math behind. For example, with the fractals, we were using a lot of sequence and progressions, or so it depends what you are intending to teach it, and then we can fit with some projects. And if you have any question, I mean, if you want to discuss more, I'm totally open to talk about it, and more, I mean, closely and personally. Yeah, for sure. And you're with spatial reasoning as well. Yeah. And Yura is taking part of this group who is talking later, with this project in Brazil. Yeah, it's a really nice project.
Yeah, that's correct. So probably, Short, you can introduce Hossam now, because this is going to be our next star talking now and introducing us to his ideas for the next hour.
Sure. Thank you. And thank you very much, Diego. So it's always very inspiring what you are showing to us. And then it would be really good to continue the work together. I think we are doing it all the time. And then hopefully you will come to Linz, visit us again, and then develop these ideas further. And then maybe we can visit you as well in your really cool new STEAM lab. And our next speaker is our theoretical hero, Hossam Kasti from Lebanon. And then we are very fortunate to work with Hossam, because he is teaching us lots of perspectives on theories, very actively involved in our doctoral school. And I think he brought us some really interesting perspectives on theories on design and designing the design. So Hossam, very welcome to have you here, and then hopefully you will visit us and then work together, and then I'm sure you will give lots of inspiring thoughts from a different perspective to the audience.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me very well? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So thank you again, and I'm also glad to work closely with JKU and the great team that are working on STEAM project, different projects. I'm the one that likes a lot to be practical, because I'm a secondary mathematics teacher. I've taught secondary school for more than 25 years now. But at the same time, I would like to talk today about more theoretical part that will help or affect the practical issues. So of course, comparing to Diego, it's very hard now to make you interested in theories, because he had a lot of nice project. But I will try my best to simplify things and make them practical to teachers and researchers working with the teachers. So let me start by sharing my my OneNote. So I want you first to think about elephant for 5 seconds. Okay, so what image your brain processed? You don't need to answer me, but just have it in mind. So would it be something like this one? Simple elephant, or it would be something like science elephant? Is it something that we call technology elephant with pixels? Or is it the engineering elephant going from different views, back view, side view, top view, front view? Or is it the art? Or maybe the math elephant? Maybe math and art elephant? Maybe math, technology elephant? Technology art elephant? Math, science elephant, or math, science, and technology, if you use technology in that, and the Fibonacci elephant, for example? Or is it the all of them together elephant? Is it the STEAM elephant? This is something was posted on the Geogebra STEAM group on Facebook. It was inspiring to see that this is maybe includes all the details of STEAM work. So this is another one made up of bananas, and I was reading that elephants are the symbol of intelligence and courage in for Hindu and Indian. So I think in STEAM, we want our teachers also to be intelligent and courageous and try new things, new perspective. Maybe we cannot teach the same math with the new perspective as answering my own question to Diego, but let us talk about what is STEAM for you. So for me, for example, if I want to talk about or think about STEAM, we know that S is the science, but I think science is something alive and it is inquiry. Technology, it's something that it is movable, animation, and inductive. Engineering, it's something that it is the design part that we want to talk about more from the perspective of the theory today, and dynamic, of course. And A is the art, which is something beautiful, aesthetic, and creative. And of course, mathematics is the problem solving and all of the above. Now, what is design theory? Design theory has three traditional foci: the design itself, its representation, evolution, verification, the designer, and the process of designing. So the design itself could be the fractal thing, or the 3D, or the virtual reality. The designer could be a teacher, could be a researcher, could be a student. And the process of designing, from the concept to the details to the fine work at the end, maybe like Diego now just did, the last part is the laser printing at the end. So what we want, or we hope, is to get all of these together, and what we will have from that design or that project. So it is rendering, because you will make something beautiful, like the box showed us at the end, Diego. The design is creativity from many of the also examples that shown. We have different games, different resources. Design is optimization. Maybe with different examples we can see that. And design is drafting. So it would be something, all of these together. Now, this one, I selected it from Research in Engineering and written in 1990. So like 30 years ago, and it is called Designing the Design Process. So I was inspired by this nice article to talk about, or to give the title of my lecture today. Now, I want you to think, why do teachers need to be designers? I think the future is not for having teachers only teach. I think that the future is, we want them to be designers. But why? What is added, or what is different? I know that many teachers are designers in designing their lesson plans and making them and using whatever they have as resources to give these lessons, but not all, or sometimes they have some problems, or they face some hindering factors. So if we think, why do teachers need to be designers? I think because they are operating as educational designers, will allow them to be flexibly adapt and experience continued success in constantly evolving environment. Like you see, the COVID-19 issue made the evolving or the adaptation a must for all of us. So it was very hard for the teachers that are not ready to evolve, or to change, or to adapt. And we saw from many examples all over the world that teachers wanted to do the same material or methods that they already use in their regular classes. They wanted that to be online, and they saw it themselves that that's not possible or feasible. So being a designer, or a generally agile teacher, could have made the problem easier. And we saw many examples also on Facebook, making groups of teachers using this special software or the other, and they were introduced to new software, but that was on the spot solution. It wasn't like pre-worked on before. So I think we should always prepare our teachers and ourselves to be designers. So anything that happens later on, they could change easily. So what are the characteristics of a designer? Designers are highly skilled professionals who can work in dynamic, real-world setting to meet multiple goals simultaneously. So like giving them this fractile example, a teacher can take this as an opportunity to tell them, like exactly what Diego gave them. The first one, they will feel there is a problem in putting the points over the image, and then the second one will be something that will introduce the rotation to students. So we can still teach the curriculum in another way, or change the whole curriculum to incompensate something that it is new to us and to students in mathematics. Now, the designer also will possess knowledge of their field. Now, from my experience teaching 15 years, teachers pre-service and in-service, preparing them to teach with technology, I saw that the main hindering factor from them to be active users or designers is the content knowledge. So it was something from the content knowledge that they missed, and that hindered them from continuing. So we should have the content in mathematics education, and so on, and then we can continue to be designers. They will use their knowledge and skills to identify and understand and design challenges. So designing the activity is a design, and solving the activity or challenge or game or whatever is also a design for the problem. So it's not only problem solving, it's a multiple skills at the same time. Operate at the intersection of science and art, theoretical and practical, and abstract and concrete. Especially in mathematics, it's not easy to have a bridge between theory and practice. And I saw it in many instances. The ones that do or learn pure mathematics, they want to teach pure mathematics to secondary or middle school, and they cannot see the practice in it. On the contrary, the ones that did educational BS or whatever, they more practical and they miss the theoretical. So the best way is to have a link, a bridge between the two. So a teacher who approaches instructional planning with purpose, processes specialized knowledge, and utilizes systematic processes is an educational designer. So we don't teach math just for the test. It's not about assessment. It's not about going to college. It's more than that. It has the STEAM spirit in all of it. So we can relate math to science, we can do technology, and we will have some purpose in it. And it's not hard now. It was harder before because we didn't have a lot of free things, free software. And we didn't have the capability of using cell phones. Most of students now have them. So working with less hindering factors is a plus for us. So the question now is, how can we help? How can we as researchers and professionals in the work help teachers become designers? So that's the main purpose of today's lecture, that we want teachers to feel at ease. We want them to feel confident and use technology and the other things related to STEM or STEAM education without hesitation. So it's not an easy task for researchers and professionals, but if we are educational designers as well, like the teachers, so we can work in this theoretical practical thing. So I think there is no gap in reality, but the gap is that either the researcher is too theoretical and the teacher is too practical, and there is no communication between the two, or if there is a communication, there is something that is top down or down up. So it's not something that it is feasible for both. Now I will talk about some general theories, and then I will conclude with something that will help us design or see the background of the design itself. So this is a link, and I can share this. I use OneNote. If you're not familiar with the presentation, I stopped using PowerPoint because PowerPoint is linear, and I like to see things all at the same time. I'm using a lot OneNote, and I'm using it with all my students' courses. So I have a course for every I have a OneNote for every course. And the important thing about that is that it is immediately synchronized when I write anything on it. So instead of writing on a whiteboard, which is in Zoom or anything else, you write here and it is immediately shown to students at the same time, and it is saved and they can access it at any time. And OneNote it's a free with the Microsoft Office. So I'm just making some market for OneNote. I'm a great fan of this important software that we can use from many perspectives. So this link gives us like a summary for many learning theories that every teacher should know. I won't go into the details now of this, but I will just go quickly for some basic and important theories that every teacher should know, and it is important for designing our lessons or designing our activities or whatever we are doing designing for. So the first one is,
I have a question first from Vincent.
Yeah, let me see.
Is that possible?
Yeah, of course. It will break the routine of my voice. I'm not a fan of lecturing. Most of the time I use interactive activities, but today it's a tough work for me because it's more theoretical, but we can take some questions. Yes.
Vincent would like to know something. Can he ask that?
Vincent, I think you can ask your question if it's possible.
Oh, okay. I actually put it in the chat. My question was actually, you know, I ever gave I think presentation about teachers as designers, but the question is, what do the authorities view teachers as? Do they, you know, designers means you actually kind of like do something like what Diego does, but a lesson planner will be just a person who comes up, you know, every time you go for lesson observations, when the higher ups want to assess how well you teach, and you write a lesson plan and then you execute a lesson plan. So you're not expected to design the resources, right, that you use in teaching. You're supposed to just use them. And usually teachers are expected to write out the lesson plan. That's what I mean by planner. You write the lesson plan, but you don't design the lesson resources. So yeah, my question is, have the researchers look at whether teachers are expected to be designers, or what do you mean in your case when you say designer?
Okay, so thank you, Vincent, for the question. I've read it and I've heard your question. If I understood it correctly, now authorities wants. It's a complicated issue because we have many things that that come into the authority part. But if we want just to take it easy, just the curriculum itself. So yes, if a teacher wants to do a lesson, he is a designer. He is designing. He wants to select this activity as the startup. He wants to select this. I call it focusing event. So this or that he can select from them. Now the authorities, if we take it to the, let's say, department level, which is easier to work with, the department or the school wants students to learn. They want the curriculum to be done. So, and they want the test to be good. So if you take that, you can still work actively and interactive and do many projects with your students that help you with your curriculum itself. And that's why I was thinking about why or how can we use something available to us and to make the gap between what do we want, like fractals and 3D printing. This is what we hope. This is the future. Diego showed that the future, but teachers, they have different view on that. They cannot just adapt that and let's say they skip or they stop teaching what authorities want. So it's nice to see the future. It's nice to see where we are going. And at the same time, we can still fill some gap between theory and practice, abstract and practical. I will show you in a while how can we do that. So because you asked how can we do that. So using some theories, we can do that, and I've done it myself because I'm a secondary teacher. I always worked parallel with someone and finished before the one that doing nothing special about mathematics, and my student always did better, and they have a better view of math and better thinking of math at the same time. Same curriculum, same time, same tests, but different design. So that's why I like to stress more on the design issue. So yeah, it's not easy to change culture. I'm seeing Mara question. It's not a culture, but it's I will show you now how a teacher thinks, or what happened with a teacher when he is faced with something new. So let me just continue, and maybe I can answer many of your questions. So the first theory is well-known constructivist because all the books, all the teaching diplomas teach it to their teachers, and the teachers also try it with their students. There's a big shift between lecturing now and constructivism, especially in mathematics. So constructivism, if we want to make it simple, it's like this picture. It's a Lego. You build something from a new concept based on something previous. So even if you don't change the curriculum, at least make it comprehensible for students. Join the previous concept to something new and tell them next one, this will be the next step. Don't tell them that why, because all the students say, why is that important? Why, when we will use that? So the basic question answer, or the minimum answer is, you will use that in college, and that's not true. That's not true. They won't use it. So let's be frank with them and tell them this is something beautiful. This is something important in itself, and just giving them the correct answer and linking it to something they used before or after will make a huge difference in their understanding. So it's not about the test at the end. So constructivist is that if you want to teach, let's say, multiplication, you have to link it to addition. If you want to use or think about division, then you have to link it to multiplication, and so on, so forth. And so if we teach conceptual understanding from the beginning, we will have different mathematics at the end. And at the same time, our students and our teachers will be more ready to be designers in themselves. The second theory I would like to talk about is the social learning theory. And now more than ever, the interaction of students and working socially and cooperating and collaborating is getting so much attention because everyone saw the importance of the school as from this perspective, that why we are going to school, we can do that online, but it's not the same social interaction, it's not the same peer working, visual, eye-to-eye contact, student-teacher, student-student, and so on. So the second important theory is the social learning theory and cooperation. There is a third one, which is a French one, is the didactic situation, where we have the teacher, we have the knowledge, we have the student, and we have the milieu, or the things that we are using, the material. Well, so whatever it is, whether it is technology or not, whether it is manipulatives, so whether it is a game. So there is a lot of research on use of the game to build strategic thinking and mathematical problem solving, and it is important in itself. But we have, if we want to use it in a classroom, regular classroom, we have to convince the authority, whatever they are, low or high, that this is beneficial for the understanding of students' mathematical concepts. Now, this is something to reflect on, but I will return to this later on. There is something in theory also which is related to modeling cycle. So the modeling cycle is important also in STEAM education. It's because we have the reality and we have the mathematics, and we want to take a real situation. So if you want to design a new STEM activity, you don't want to just take it from ready-made. So you have to take a real situation, and then you have to situation, we want to model it, and then we want to mathematical model, make it mathematical results, go back to the real results and see what happens to the real situation. An example on that, I wanted to, when the pandemic started, I was working on exponential and logarithmic functions with my grade 12 students. It was there for me to use a real situation. I took some ready-made data from the internet, and we graphed them, and we saw that it is not something that that all the time we see in the books, that modeling something that happens most of the time or all the time, and this is not true in reality. So it was a great use of real situation to model it mathematically, and seeing every week how the numbers in the COVID-19 spread was changing. So students saw the importance of modeling, and that modeling in real life doesn't mean we have an exponential, pure exponential, and linear, pure linear, and it continues indefinitely. So it could be exponential, then it is linear, or maybe logarithmic, and every day or every week is changing, and that's the importance of modeling something. Now, in this case, I used something very simple and very real, and I used it for presenting a concept that it is in the curriculum. So I didn't change the curriculum. I didn't change the whole system. I still made it to relate the practical to the theoretical. It's not hard. Anyone can do that. You just have to be clear and agile to what is happening. It's not, this is mathematics and nothing changed in it. No, this is real life, and there is no connection with the math. Also not correct. So the STEAM education is that simple, that if you just took something from science and related to math, it would be a relation between science and math, and it would be considered as a STEAM education. You don't have to use everything at the same time. I used a lot of math and technology with some real situations, so it would be great. I don't have a lot of info about chemistry and physics. I would like to fill the gaps I have in these issues to make better models integrating multidisciplinary projects. I think we can take some questions here if we have any. So Hannah is saying we spiral link. Yes, of course, it should be in mathematics. I consider mathematics as a language. So like any other language, you cannot teach grade 5 without 4, without 3. So it is spiral and constructivist. And if you want to see the level of your students, I think you can just give them any question or assessment outside the assessment for grading, and then you will see their real level. Picturing teachers as design, usually it is what you do planning your lessons, but it is different in how wide and your design goes. Exactly. So it shouldn't be that wide, and anything it's better than nothing in this sense. So I used to give my students one project a term. We have 3 terms in a year, so one project, and it is graded. And they were excited to answer a real situation or a real modeling that fits a part of the curriculum, or maybe an additional thing about it. And students always remember these instances more than anything else. How can we inspire colleagues and learning teachers? How can we teach them? We will talk about in the next section of that. So teachers are trying to meet the needs of future, but students are not. What should be the way to motivate them? I know that's a direct message, so I won't say the name, but I think that's not true. Students are in front of us in the future, but we have to look at them and be inspired from them, not all the way around. So if they are not motivated to learn from us, maybe because what we are saying doesn't have a meaning for them. So we have to fill the gap. You cannot say students are not motivated, or they are not in the way of motivating them. So maybe we should do something that will motivate them. So I think from many instances that you have or I have in my teaching, sometimes we give them something to think about as a puzzle or a trick, and they want to find the answer. And when we tell them, stop, please, we want to start our lesson, they won't stop. They will say, no, that's not okay with us. We want the answer. We want to continue thinking about it. So maybe challenging them, maybe giving them something interesting in the entourage of the curriculum. I'm not saying cancel and make them play, but you can always find something interesting in that. Maybe in another instance, I can show you many examples that I use with the students as an introduction to a concept, and from that they can learn everything about the same curriculum. Okay, so I think we can return back to the questions later on. So what is the new trend now? The new trend in theories is something called networking theories. So like anything in real situations now, networking is important. So now networking theories means that you don't use only constructivism, you don't use only social theory, so you don't do all the time group work, and that's it. So you need to try to find or look at the same picture from different perspectives. So teachers may be in need of deep content knowledge sometimes, but they need research-based proven things that works. They need something that will help them in their teaching learning process. So teachers, this is what they need, but this is not want to make us just solvers of their needs. So what I'm talking about is, instead of solving teachers' problems, give them something that will make them solve their own problems. And that is designing itself. So that's why we are talking about that. So working closely and collaboratively with the professionals is why the design-based research is important. Design-based research, if you are a researcher and you want to work on STEAM education, mainly in working with the teachers, this is advisable because close relationship with the professional will benefit both the researcher and the teacher. The teacher will understand the hidden or the higher or the abstract things about mathematics and mathematics education, and the researcher will also understand the assisting and the hindering factors that a teacher goes through. This doesn't mean a teacher doesn't want to change, doesn't want to learn. So when we say our students don't want, this is the same saying that the administration says about us as teachers. So they say our teachers don't want to change, they don't want to learn. We made these workshops, but still we don't see anything in the classroom. So it's not true, because there are a lot of factors in that. So I will tell you from the perspective of the theory what happens with the teacher. So in terms of technology, in terms of teachers, we want to make learning more efficient, effective, and engaging. So if you give anything related to technology for the teacher and just for the fun of it, maybe he will use or not. But if it's efficient, effective, and engaging, then they will use it. So efficient, it won't give them the problem of giving time extra to the curriculum, because they don't have that. It is effective because they will use it to explain the curriculum, and it is engaging because the student, him or herself, will discover, using the constructivist approach and collaboratively using the social networking, the concept that we are trying to teach. So TPAC is an intersection between the content knowledge the teacher should possess, the pedagogical knowledge, and the technological knowledge. So if we just do any intersection of these without the three at the same time, then we'll lose one of these efficient, effective, engaging parts. So the first thing a teacher should learn in the teaching diploma, if we are doing a teaching diploma, master, whatever the program is a combination of the three at the same time, a TPAC. Now there's a nice theory that I've used with in my PhD, and I'm still a fan of it a lot, is the diffusion of innovation theory. This is not related to education in itself. It's anything. Think about anything that happens in you. How a human being goes into the process from knowing about it till confirmation, whatever it is, whether it is a cell phone, a game, convincing people that they have to take the vaccine, for example, so they they have to know about it. It's pluses and minuses. Then all the authorities trying to persuade them. Then they will take the decision. And we saw many cases that someone wanted to take the vaccine, and then someone else tells him, no, don't take it. So they go from adoption to rejection over one night, or the vice versa case, rejecting the vaccine and then they adopted the next day because someone told them that no, don't worry about it, it's safe, it is only 4 out of a million, and so on. So we have the culture work organization, and we have the communication channels that work on the process from knowing about something to the confirmation to adopt it. Now the same things happens with a teacher. A teacher, if we want him to adapt the 3D printing, for example, anything else, anything that Geogebra, for example, we teach him about it, which is the content knowledge, and then if we make a workshop, then the effect will stop here. We show them something interactive, we give them activities, they do it themselves, they say, wow, that's exactly what I want, and this is exactly what I will use in my classroom. Then when you go and you observe them, you see most of them are in the rejection part. What happens from here to that stage? So what we have is something called the zone theory. I know that's too much for one lecture, theories, but bear with me because the whole idea is it can be explained to anyone if you just see the 3 perspectives at the same time. So there's something called zones. Zone theory is something not new. It started with Vygotsky, with working with the kids, and they see how kids without scaffolding and with scaffolding what happens. So we have 3 things. We have the zone of proximal development, zone of promoted action, and zone of free movement. So what happens to a teacher when he wants to adopt something that sometimes he doesn't have the skills, sometimes he doesn't feel comfortable with a certain issue, so he immediately goes to the safe side. So we saw that at the start of the COVID-19 thing, many teachers just went to something that they know, not something that it is new for them at that. So to make it short, because I don't have much time, we have most of the issues come from this part, which is outside the teacher. So I made it a symbolic here. So there are many issues related to the teacher himself. There is something that we can do as researchers, and there's many factors that are outside the teacher, which is one of them is the student motivation. So mixing the 3 together just to see the networking issue, what happens is that when a teacher goes into the TPAC, he has everything that needs to be known in pedagogy, content, and technology. He goes into the process of knowing and then deciding and so on. So what happens is that there are steps, there are levels here. What happens between them is something related to the zone theory. So we are offering something that will explain to us what is happening, and then we can know how we can help. So we are working on something called the ladder and slide framework that combines the 3 at the same time, answering the question, what is happening from one stage to another? Why does teacher, after giving them many workshops, they went up, but then they slided down to the lesser part? So what happened exactly? And how can we help? So to make it short, we can help by collaborating between professional, not necessarily a researcher, something that knows about TPAC more than the others, has some ideas and so on, and iterations that you can do that over time, and then making less and less these zones as hindering factors, and making them some steps to use to go up. So you can use the same factor, instead of being a hindering factor, make it a better factor as an assisting factor. So this is an example that we worked on one of the teachers. So they had many problems in ZFM, ZPD, and then they were in the adopting level of technology, which was Geogebra at that time. I worked with them over in their own schools and according to their own curriculum, but advised them, or if you want, showed them what we can do. They tried it, and then by collaborating and iteration, working on another lesson, they felt at ease. And you see here the inclination of the ZFM is like less, and the ZPA, ZPD are approximately nothing. Now, something important to say here, because we said something about designing. The first iteration, we used a ready-made activity. The second, they adapted some ready-made. And the third, they designed it themselves. And then they could continue. We worked with them over another year, and we saw that they continued their work with the technology. At that time was Geogebra, because they were scaffolded all these steps. So what we are saying, to conclude, if you want to change the teachers from being just to give them something to solve their problems, make them designers, help them. This will take some time and would be over iterations, and so will take some work, but the ending up, which would be very beneficial for all. And you can think about it from the perspective of teacher and student at the same time. So I will let you think about this letter and slide from the perspective of teacher helping a student to be a better learner or problem solver. So I think I'm on time. Right?
This is amazing. Yes, of course you are in time. The chat is overflowing from being amazed about your presentation. And thank you for in between answering some questions. I feel that there might be some more. Everybody is saying that it's extremely interesting, your thinking and the view that you have, and I believe it's a really important topic as well. So if you have any questions, just please repost them into the chat and then we can answer them.
I'm not able to see all the questions. I'm going back and forth. So I
yeah,
saw
that's
one
the
of
reason
them
why I asked them to repost the questions. I think it's going between all that praising and all that saying, "Oh my God, this is so interesting." I think if you had a question that was not answered yet, you might have to re-ask them, because we
I
need
think
to find them.
for the ones there is a question about some examples of activities, or what we call focusing event as a startup. I think we need another session on that. So it is an interesting part, because you can select anything that you see from social media and use it in your lesson to introduce something new. I use a lot of memes right now with the students. You can use videos, you can use a picture, like you saw in the startup that I did. I used some pictures from Facebook. This is, I think, posted it yesterday or the day before. So you see something, you think about it, how can we benefit from that in our teaching? So it's not hard. You just have to make a habit of seeing mathematics everywhere, and in this case now STEAM everywhere.
So Hossam, I think your presentation is really impressive as always. And we are very grateful that you are contributing to the conference and to our team. I think it's very fruitful. So Irina, I think you have a question. So probably it's better to ask in person. So maybe Irina can ask her question.
Yeah, thank you. My question is like, could you please describe an example of a modeling problem that you use with your future pre-service mathematics teachers that aligns with the theoretical framework that you've described?
In teaching teachers, I use what I use with my students. So I don't prepare for teachers something different from students. Why? Because I feel that they have to see something practical that exactly the same that I've used with my students. I don't know if here I can just find it quickly, the correlation example with my students. Maybe it would be easy to see. Let me just see if we have it here. I'm not sure here because I didn't prepare something now, but I've used something here like this. I'm opening now. So this is a bizarre correlation. If I use it with my students in school, I will use it with my students as student teachers, whether they are pre-service or in-service, it goes the same thing. So just opening now, just give me 1 second to do that. I don't know if we can see here. No. Okay. So just I will share my quickly the Word. It's opening right now. Just 1 second. I have a lot of examples, but I didn't prepare to work on that today because it was a huge theories at the same time. So this is what
maybe in the future we can organize a kind of whole session on these theories, because we have lots of experiences within our team, but I think it would be interesting for a greater audience to work with Hossam on some practical examples on theories.
Can you see my Word document?
Yes.
So this is something I shared with my student and at the same time student teachers. This is a bizarre correlation between ice cream, for example, and murder. So as an introduction to correlation, that correlation doesn't mean causality. So this is a relation between autism and organic food sales. So, and then I gave them something from real life problem. This is modeling. This is a sandwich, total fat, total calories. These are real numbers. I found them on the internet. And then I immediately was modeling this in Geogebra or Excel to show them what is, if there is a relationship or not, and how it looks. The lesson was about linear correlation, but I introduced everything because when you open Excel or Geogebra, you will see different things. So that's what I'm saying, that you don't need to just stick to the curriculum. You will do the curriculum, but you will do more than that. Just use real models, and instead of just memorizing these this is something that they don't understand. So if you start like this, pure mathematics, you will lose them. If you start like that, you will have them. And at the same time, at the end, you are finishing the same curriculum, but totally different perspective. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
So I'm thinking.
Sorry.
Can we take more questions, or that's it?
Yeah, I was just thinking. Musa said a comment that she thinks that this is really insightful, and the changing teacher beliefs is quite a challenge. And probably, if there are no more questions, or right now more questions, you can always collect your questions and we can try to answer them later. Then we can have a short break.
Yes. So thank you very much, Hossam. And then I'm sure we will continue. So it's really amazing work. And I think we really need a break. And then we will start exactly at 4. Because we have Julia, who will give an update of what is new in Geogebra. So there is lots of new development, and then afterwards the magic team is coming. So thank you very much. So let's have 10 minutes break, and thank you very much, Eva, for all of your comments and for the team for doing this organization very well. So see you soon at 4 o'clock.